Hey, everybody. I'm Sarah Olivieri, and today I want to talk to you about how to get more done in less time and reclaim your sanity. Wow, this couldn't come at a better time for so many people who are feeling the stress and the strain of the holidays, and fall came in full swing. And now you're just like, oh my God, I could use more time. And I feel myself losing it. In fact, I'll tell you, I just got off a call with my amazing thrivers, those executive directors of nonprofits who I do a weekly coaching call with. And some of them were really feeling it in this season. And it is real, that sense of overwhelm we get when we don't have enough time in our day. So I'd love to ask you to start off today. How would you spend an extra 2 hours in your day? If I just gave you an extra free 2 hours, what would you do? Would you take a bath? Would you take a walk? Would you hang out with your kids? Would you call your relative or your friend? What would you do? Would you watch TV? Think about that for a moment. And now I want to tell you some tips and tricks for how to get that time back in your day. And if you like these tips today and you would love a full-length training on how to do this, let me know in the chats, because I've got one kind of in the works, but I haven't really decided if I want to do the work of promoting it and putting it out there. But you can tip the scale if you let me know and say, I want the training. So we're going to talk about a couple things today. We're going to talk about some time management myths. We're going to talk about a few secrets to getting time back in your day. I'm going to give you some quick hacks to do that even faster and easier. And we're going to talk about the power of delegation, and it's not just what you think about when we say delegate. Like, I don't have anyone to delegate to. Well, guess what? You can delegate to someone who's not a someone. But stay tuned for that tip. Okay, so let's start with some time management myths. And here I want to ask you, how do you talk about time? Do you say, I spend time, I make time, I get time, I use time, I schedule time? How do you think about it? Time is, or maybe it isn't, maybe it's relative, but I like to choose to think that I make time, meaning I'm in control of my time. It's my time, and I actually can mostly control how I use it, how I spend it. And so I don't like to say I spend time. I like to say I make time. So myth number one is that we spend time, right? You can switch your mindset and you can make time for things instead. And myth number two is, so many times when we talk about having more time, we talk about prioritization. But the myth is it's not just enough to prioritize what you're doing, because that doesn't help shrink your to-do list. And it's not going to save you time if you don't shrink that to-do list as well as put it in priority order. So that brings me on to tip number two, my secrets for getting more time back into your day. And I like to think of them as the 3 gates of time, the 3 things that you need to pay attention to if you want more time back in your day. Thing number 1, gate number 1, is you have to get clear on your goals. I know we were talking about to-do lists, and now we're talking about goals, and Sarah's always talking about goals, but you must get clear on your goals if you are even going to have any chance of prioritizing, because how do we know what's important if we don't know what we're trying to achieve, what we're trying to accomplish? So get clear on your goals. And that is step 1 to actually being able to prioritize your work, as well as eliminate a bunch of work. If you want to know more secrets about setting goals, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you want that free training where we learn about that there's actually, the goals always come in pairs. But that's for another day. Don't have time to talk about goals coming in pairs right now. Time gate number 2 is projects. Once you know your goals, I want you to list the projects that need to be completed in order to accomplish those goals, right? And when you get clear on the difference between a project and a task, right? This might sound simple when I say it, but so many people struggle with the difference between a project and a task, right? A project might be to put up a new web page. Sounds simple, but that's a project, right? Tasks are going to include getting the content written or created, figuring out the written content, the graphics, right? Who's going to design the layout? Do you have a template ready to go, or does that need to be designed, right? Putting up a web page can turn into a bit of work. Same with a blog post, right? You might have the task of writing the post. Maybe someone's going to check it for SEO. Someone else is going to maybe enter it, or maybe one person will do all those things, but enter it into your website tool. I don't know why I'm stuck on website examples. You might have a project related to putting out a fundraising email or a fundraising campaign. Thanksgiving's coming up, Giving Tuesday's coming up. Maybe you have a project that's around your Giving Tuesday campaign. Maybe your Giving Tuesday campaign is simple enough to be one project. Maybe it's actually multiple projects. Maybe you've got digital marketing stuff, campaign going on. You've got an in-person thing, stuff like that, right? When we look at our projects, I have a big hack for you that I'm going to come up with in the next section. So hang on to projects. And the third gate to time is your tasks, right? So now how do we prioritize what tasks to do first and what tasks even stay on our task lists? Well, if those tasks belong to a project that is helping us achieve our goal, then that's great. If we have tasks just because, Aunt Mary thinks we should do it, but it doesn't help us finish our projects or achieve our goals, then we can probably stop doing it. So, want to know 2 quick hacks? I probably have more, but 2 for you today on how to be more productive. Hack number 1 is when you're looking at your projects, look at them using a Kanban board. A Kanban board is just a set of columns you can write out of what's to do, what's in progress, and what's already done. You can you can use a digital tool for this. We like to use ZenKit here at PivotGround. You can use Trello. You can use a whiteboard. You can just use sticky notes and place each project in a column. This is going to help you get clarity on not putting too many things on your plate at once. And if you have a team, it's going to help everybody see what's going on and what needs to be done. My second hack for you is related to your tasks. For your tasks, don't use a Kanban board. I recommend for your tasks that you calendarize them, meaning you put them in your calendar, estimate how long they're going to take, and actually block them in. And if you're a person who has a lot of meetings, make sure that you didn't plan 10 hours of task doing on top of a day with 5 hours of meetings, because that would be silly, right? So spread them across your week or 2 weeks so that they all fit in with the meetings and stuff on your plate and in a reasonable work day for yourself. And if they don't all fit, you need to be eliminating and delegating, which is tip number 4 today on getting more time back in your day. When I think about delegating, I actually think of this process of streamlining and making my life easier. So as a kid, I grew up with this saying about recycling: reuse, reduce, recycling. And it was very, very important that you did it in that order. First, you have to use less stuff. Then the stuff that you do use, you need to, reuse, reduce, recycle, reduce, reuse, recycle. See, my childhood education is disappearing. First, you need to reduce the amount of stuff you buy, reduce the amount of stuff you have in the first place. Then the stuff that you do have, you want to reuse it as much as possible. And only after you've reduced what you buy and reused everything that you can from it, should you even worry about recycling. So same kind of thing when we think about delegating or the need to delegate because we've got too many tasks on our plate. First, we want to reduce the number of steps that need to be done, right? Simplify the processes, throw the things that don't really get great results out the door. If you've heard of the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the work gets 80% of the results, try to figure out what the 80% of the work is that's only getting 20% of the results. Just stop doing it, right? Just stop doing it. Just focus on the 20% to get you by. High performance folks have plenty of time and resources, and they can worry about the 80% that gets 20% of the results. That's what I do in sailboat racing, by the way, but it's sailboat racing, right? And I'd love if we can do another talk on high performance versus getting amazing, getting great results, getting tons of results. Okay, so first reduce, do less stuff, eliminate things, then streamline. Then you streamline, what you're doing. So make the order the best flow possible, right? Does it make sense to have the content written for that blog post first, or to set up the page first, right? Is there a best order that makes the flow really easy? Can you reduce the number of steps even by having a better flow? And then delegate, but you don't just have to delegate to a human. You can delegate to AI. You can delegate to automation. There's these are options that you have now. So for those of you, as my parting gift to you today, I want to hand you my fireproof bucket here. And you may get rid of any of those things that don't pass the 80-20 rule. So those things that are not getting 80% of your results from 20% of the work, you just put them right in this little fire bucket and let them burn out. That's all I have for you today. Again, I'm Sarah Olivieri, and it is my pleasure to bring you tips and suggestions and guidance for running your businesses and organizations every week. And I will see you next time.